Okay. So we're just gonna do a normal tier list, okay? A normal tier list. So obviously this will be a subjective one. So I'm not gonna be even mad or annoyed if you guys will disagree or not. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's just an opinion though. This is just my opinion for all of the dolls that we have now, at least, right? Okay. So normal SABC, and I cannot form an opinion yet. About the I cannot form an opinion yet, it just means that I haven't played much of that doll to the point that you know, I can vouch of how they play out or how I can actually describe them. So I'm just gonna put the dolls there that I don't have really an opinion of. Most likely the dolls that I don't have, clearly. But yeah. This one is from a Tiermaker made by Cyalide. Cyalide or Cyalide? Well, I'm sorry if I butcher your name. But yeah. It's a Tiermaker for Girls Frontline 2. Well, first off, because it's either I will be a biased person or I just feel neutral, like perfectly neutral for Macchiato. So I'm just gonna put Macchiato here, and we will never, and you know, I rather not put her on S, A, B, or C. You know, it's like a main character thing, right? Like every commander in the game has their own main. Like they just cannot put anywhere else, you know. So basically, we consider this one as a special place. Special place. It's just something, you know. Of course, I cannot really say that. Oh, because I have known her in Girls Frontline 1. Because we're just talking about Girls Frontline 2. Like, it's just a thing. This is just like my main doll. It's like, whenever I play this game, you'll never see this doll gets taken away from my squad. Not unless it's like a Team B or a Team C whenever I'm doing a boss fight. Or something like Gunsmoke Frontline. That's the time you only see me not use Macchiato. But yeah, in general sense though, why she has her own tier, I guess she's just too good. At least for me. At least for me, she's way too good. She makes my enjoyment of Girls Frontline to always stay at like 100%. Like I just put her and then boom. The game is fun. All of a sudden, you know? So yeah, there's Macchiato. Boo! Bad opinion! Alright. Next one is, you know what? I'm just gonna start from left to right, all the way up to Zowie. Okay? So, Kluke, on the other hand, Kluke. I think Kluke is A for me. Not S, not B, but A. Here's the thing. Kluke, we all know Kluke is such a very good doll, especially when it comes to multiple enemies, right? Like she can clear out a lot of enemies, and she can make them explode. She's also great at Gunsmoke Frontline. Great abilities, skills, and strats, and everything, and fixed keys. However, for me, at the end of the day, I just see her as an AoE doll. And then, I'm pretty sure I have borrowed a lot of Kluke that are on segment 6. But those are the Klukes of the other commanders. Like, it's not my own dolls. So, my own Kluke is like literally segment 0 and then rank 1 Skyla. So, even if I had like segment 6 or rank 6 in that matter, I don't think I will ever come to a point where I would really use her, if you get what I mean. Because she kinda makes the game trivial. Like for example, if you do the daily patrol, oh, you just bring Kluke, that's it, right? But that does not mean she is bad. In my opinion, she's actually performing at her best. Like she helps the commander really good. If you're a new player in Girls Frontline 2, and if there's a Kluke banner, even I would say, go get segment 3 Kluke. And you will have the best time of your life. However, just because someone is very strong doesn't mean it is always good. That's just my opinion, okay? That's just my opinion. Because I've been playing the game for way too long now, right? Like up this point, I've been playing the game since day 1. If I keep relying on her, I guess it's the same thing with Macchiato. But for Kluke though, on the other hand, the thing that makes me rank her as A is because she's so expensive. That's like one of my major issues about her. Like, you really want to make her work right off the bat, go get that segment 3. It's not even a want, you just really need it. If you don't get that segment 3, color your rainbows goodbye. Like, you just really need that segment 3. If you don't really get that segment 3, you're kind of wasting your Kluke, in my opinion. But then again, even having a no segment Kluke is already helpful enough. Because the fact that she can make enemies explode consecutively by just throwing her overpowering corrosion, and then if you're just fighting a boss, you could also use some fixed keys that increase the damage of her ultimate skill, Devastating Drift. So there's that one too. And her pinpoint detection, that's also good for Confectance Index Generator. So, she's really good. But yeah, she's just way too expensive. But yeah, at the end of the day, this will just be my opinion. She is just A for me. She's just A for me. But yeah, that's my opinion about Kluke. So, Tololo. I haven't used Tololo that much, but there were times where she really helped me out, especially during boss fight. However, I guess it's just her being one of the starting elite dolls. She's kinda, what do you call it? She's kinda generic, in my opinion. Generic in a sense of the way she plays out. Okay, you have a full Confectance Index right off the bat, right? And then you ultimate. You use either your ultimate, actually any skill that she has. Whether her ultimate skill or skill 2 or skill 3. And then boom, pop off extra action, right? But I feel like that's what literally holds her back as well. Is because of her having an extra action. It's kinda hard to kill the enemies a lot faster, right? Like, let's compare, hold on, who I can compare. Let's compare Diane and Tololo, right? The thing about Diane and Tololo, this character has an extra action, right? So she can move like twice in a single turn. That's great. But I feel like the damage buff, she doesn't really get that much of a damage buff whenever she does an extra action unless you keep stacking it, right? So she's kind of like a late game. But based on how I play the game, I'm more like an aggressive type where I try to finish the battle within like a span of like, what? 2 turns or 3 turns. So, Tololo is not just really for me, you know? Like, I'm not really the fan of, same thing for Kluke also, right? Kluke also has that buffs where if you really want her to be really strong, you kind of need to drag out the battle. And then you will see the true damage that she can actually deal to the enemy. That's also the same thing with Tololo. I think her passive is like Light Spike or something. Something Light Spike. And then I think that's critical rate and critical damage, right? That's cool and all. But I don't really like dragging out the battle too much because a lot of the times, if you drag out the battles too much in Ghost Funny 2, it kind of backfires on you. And then you have a hard time, you know. You will have a hard time like, oh, what if the enemy boss, like for example in Gunsmoke Frontline or boss fight or even the challenge mode expansion drill, suddenly they use a move that can literally one-shot your Dow squad, right? We saw that happen in Mopro Nexus. That's also possible with a Sextans question mark enemy in Chapter 8. Don't get me wrong, that Sextans with a rifle that can literally kill you if you're not really careful. And not to mention that boss, you know, stuff like that. So, when it comes to stuff like that, I don't really feel like using Tololo and Kluke because I don't like dragging the battles way too much. You know? And like I said about Tololo though, she's kind of generic in a sense like, okay, use a move and then extra action and then that's it. You know? Like I feel like she could be more, even with her added expansion key. That's great. I guess it's great because at least like if what I think I have in mind her extra action will always occur now, like every single turn, right? Turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, turn 4. If that's how I think her expansion key will work, I have yet to try it because I haven't unlocked the expansion key yet. But even then, even with that expansion key, I don't think it's like enough for me to really give her a higher rating. You guys get what I mean? She's not bad. She's just not for me. That's the conclusion though. So yeah. Also, I need to get back Diane on the thing. So yeah. Andoris, I cannot form an opinion because she's not yet in the game. Same thing also for Belka. She's not also in the game. Jiangyu, also not in the game yet. Or not in the game yet. Let's start actually with the characters that... Now, hold on. I have a lot of dolls here that I don't have. Lena is also not in the game. No, actually, she was shown during the Hunter assessment. Nah, you know, I cannot really form an opinion yet. Well, I could tell a lot of commanders really want her for a lot of various reasons. A lot of various reasons. So yeah. Colgate or Colpen. The thing about Colpen though, I wish I was able to use her during the earlier parts of the game. However, because I chose Cheetah to be my support instead of Colpen, I realized late how really good Colpen is. So I'm just gonna give her a B. Part of the reason for that too, why I cannot give her an A or even a C, because I have experienced her a little bit during the during Blue Spear's expansion drill. She really helped out in that fight because I needed a 2 healer. I think that was also around the time where I had Centauracy and then I have Ksenia and Colpen at the same time, and just by using a dual DPS. So Colpen is a good medic just because all of her skills can heal. That's like one thing that I always watch out for whenever I have support characters. Like, okay, if you are a healer support, what kind of healing can you do? So, in that regard though, she's such a good medic. For some reason, I just failed to see it later on. I will also compare that also to Ksenia, because there's also a reason why I picked Ksenia over Colpen during my early parts making the game. I cannot make Colpen work on Gunsmoke. Maybe I'm just bad at Commander. It's not that you're bad. It's not that you're not bad. It's more like there are just better supports for you. You get what I mean? Like, oh, you have this. Instead, you're gonna use this one. You're gonna deploy this doll instead. So why gonna deploy Colpen instead, right? Colpen offers a lot of things. She can buff your defense. She can increase her attack. She can have an AoE heal by just using her fixed key. I just forgot the name. But yeah, honestly, she's such a good doll. It's just that I wasn't able to use her in the long run for me to be able to form a better opinion about her. So I don't want to lie about, oh, she's so good, but at the same time, you know, it's hard for me to vouch for her. You get what I mean? Because when it comes to healer support, most of the time I would just say, okay, it's Centauracy and Yuhi. That's it. Like, they are above about Colpen for that. But nowadays though, the more content the game has released in the game, I prefer having AoE healers or AoE buffers, or basically an all-rounder. You know, I cannot really stick with dolls who can heal initially by single target, because that's how Colpen is though. She's so good as a single target healer, but with the amount of enemies that you have to deal with now in Girls Frontline 2, it's not. You kind of need to upgrade your doll squad a little bit, upgrade your support dolls. You cannot also bring like dolls like can only do this. You only bring this for one thing, you know. That's like the thing with Ksenia though. You bring Ksenia because of the damage buff, and she can also heal the stability index. But it's so hard to heal your HP with just Ksenia. That's why sometimes, before you saw me guys using both Centauracy and Ksenia at the same time. Because Ksenia's role, sorry, I was my mouth. Ksenia's role in my doll squad is just literally give the hit recovery buff, heal my stability index. I don't really care about her healing HP because that's not really the best thing that you can do for Ksenia though. You want a healer though, go get Kolpen instead. Or even Centaurisi or Soomi in that regard. So yeah. So that's how I feel about Kolpen though. I feel like she also just got outshined by a lot of the new support dolls now. With also Springfield incoming. Like, a lot of the people would say, okay, why would you use Kolpen when you have Springfield now? You guys can, get my point. Or get the idea, right? Like, Kolpen will get outshined even if she has the expansion key. Honestly, the expansion key that she has, it might be good, but it's a very situational thing. Especially when most of the attackers, they don't really take advantage of you getting the stability index. Not unless there will be a boss that actually takes advantage of you having a 0 stability index, like how Mosin Nagant does. So yeah. Kolpen is great. Kolpen is also good. It's just that she's getting outshined by a lot of the newer dolls that are coming around. So yeah, that's how I feel about it. Kolpen, Mekti. I cannot really form an opinion about Mekti. I mean, I was able to use her during the simulation exercise, but even then, I don't know. I don't know. I don't really know how to really play as her. Right, like what? Normal attack, and then most of her skills are like buffer. But even then, even when I was able to use her during the challenge mode of Papillion for stage 1 and stage 2, and then simulation exercise, I feel like it's not really enough for me to form an opinion about Mekti. So yeah. Sorry guys, sorry for Mekti people. I cannot really form an opinion about her. Centaurisi, easiest. The reason for that though, great panic button. She has a cleansing buff. She has a cleanse debuff button. She can heal everybody on the map. She can overburn. She can apply an overburn to the enemy. She can give hit recovery to your allies and also a damage buff and an attack buff. This is based on segment 1 Centaurisi, by the way. Segment 1. But even without segment 1 though, Centaurisi is already a great doll on its own. So yeah. And not to mention, she can also remove I feel like hers. Let me switch to the game real quick. I feel like on segment 0, she can remove fear and stun. Stun is like one of the most accessible debuffs that the enemy can apply to you. And the fact that she can remove stun is great. Remember during the expansion drill, the fun expansion drill where you are protecting the task base still and also Darcher, and then you can remove the stun on them and you can make them move even at turn 1. It basically makes the map easier. Just because of having Centaurisi around removing the stun debuff. It's crazy. So yeah, that's an easy S for me for Centaurisi. Not really, I don't really have to expound on her that much. Because you guys normally see me use her during a lot of the gameplay videos. So yeah. Diane on the other hand, I don't have her, but I think she's great. I think she's another Macchiato for me. The fact that she can deal a lot of damage though, with those, not to mention she easily get those stacks. That's like when it comes to the stacking though of those stacks, I find Diane the easiest one to do that for, instead of Kluke and Tololo. So yeah, something about Diane just makes it easier, just makes the battles easier with just her having it up. It's like the same feeling that I get whenever I have Macchiato on the team. Like, I can only imagine if I put both Macchiato and Diane on the same squad if I'm trying to finish a lot of the maps. But yeah, the only bad thing about Diane though is that I don't have her. I don't have her, and whenever they release her on a rerun, it's always someone that I want with. Like, she always gets outshined of the new doll that I want. So instead of me getting Diane, or even if I do want to try get the Diane though, hopefully the custom banner will make me change my mind on that. It just makes it hard for me to get her. So yeah, I think she's great. Diane is great. so straight to the point, and the fact that she can move like 99 tiles around the map is a testament of, you know, is a testament of how good can she really be, especially during evacuation missions, or if you want to complete a certain objective of the map that, oh, you have to press on this button, oh, you have to press on the switch. Like, she can easily deal with that, you know. Not to mention, she also has an interception. I love characters that has an interception. The dolls that can literally shoot an enemy outside of their turn, that's 100% plus for me. For a turn-based game, you give me a character that can attack during not on my turn, easy A. Easy A. So yeah. Groza, easy S tier. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but Defh, she's a standard doll. She's a standard doll, she's the canon wife. I get it. However, if she did not have her expansion key, she would only be an A plus for me. A for me. But ever since she got her expansion key, she becomes so valuable for me. The fact that she has a skill that can give a shelter to the nearby dolls that you have on the field, and she can catch one attack for free without her taking any damage, that gives you a lot of options to deal with a lot of enemy bosses in the game. Like, oh, you want to take this hit, this one-shotting skill of the boss? Let Groza take it. Oh, you want to get myopia by the end? Oh, you cannot avoid the myopia debuff inflicted by the irrigation scholar? Let Groza take it. She might not take the damage, but you know, she can tank the goddamn debuff. But even then, like, no damage on the doll, that is way too good. Imagine if there are other dolls that can do that. Even Sabrina's ultimate skill, that sorry, not the ultimate skill, the expansion key that she has, I don't think that will still top off like what Groza has. Like every two turns, she can have she can catch like one attack. A lot of the people would say, oh, it's just one attack though. But even then, that's like one attack. Imagine you bring Groza in a boss fight, and you have to understand, Groza can give an attack buff. That's like most people, I guess most people will not do it because they have other dolls. But if you're like a free-to-play commander like me, if you are like the type of commander who utilize every fixed key that you see on the arsenal of your doll, Groza is like one of the best dolls you can ever have on your team. Like, if you don't prefer using Sabrina or even, who's the other bulwark we could have? Perry. But then again, we only have like 2 bulwarks at the moment. So yeah, Groza is like one of the best dolls in the game. I feel like it would be like an understatement if I say, oh, she's not that good. No, I would be lying if I actually did say that. But yeah, honestly, if you're like a new player in this game and you have no idea who to pull for, stick with Groza. She can be both your tank and a bit of a DPS at the same time. So yeah. And we have the bunny, Cyalide. For me, she's a B. She got outshined though. I feel like they need to buff her a lot if she needs to stand out. If she needs to stand out in the long run. But then again, she's a standard doll though. If they're ever gonna make her really, really strong though, they need to release an elite doll version of hers. But yeah, still, I won't really downplay her that much because I'm not gonna really downplay her that much because she helped me out a lot during the beginning of my game. So yeah, not to mention she's still good though. It's just that I feel like a lot of the new content in the game, you kinda need to be careful on facing your enemies. So having a melee character, it doesn't really help out that a lot anymore. So not unless they give you a new weapon that Cyalide can work with, or even Ulrid in that sense. So yeah. And Ksenia, she's good. She is good. Part of the reason for that though is because she can heal a lot of your stability index. Oh, you have 0 stability index, say no more. Right? And not to mention, she's also one of the dolls who can never run out of Confectance index. That's crazy for a support character. Crazy. Not to mention, she can action support too. and heal at the same time. Although her heal is not that great compared to Kolpen and Centaurisi. So the part of the reason why you really want to bring Ksenia though is because of the stability index. The stability index heal. That's it. And a little bit of burn dulls. I feel like one of the great things about Ksenia though is that the amount of buffs that she can give. However, she's so limited to just buffing or healing one dull at a time. That's what kinda holds her back a little, you know. But if they gave her a fixed key or an expansion key that's like what can make her comprehensive rescue or her skill tree to be an AoE, I feel like it would actually increase her value more, or allow her to help out your entire squad quite easily. But yeah, because she's so restricted to just supporting one dull at a time, especially every single turn, it really holds her back. Really holds her back. But yeah, however though, because of her stability index heal, I put her on an A. Because that stability index heal, you seldom get that from a lot of support dulls. Well, Springfield will also have that though, so I guess she's not gonna be just the only dull who can actually heal the stability index. So yeah, Defh on the other hand, S easily. Why is that though? She can buff everybody. She just needs to stand on the edge of the map, easy 10% damage buff. Segment 0 by the way. Segment 0. You get her a segment 6. Oh yay. It's a 20% damage buff for everybody and then a 40% damage boost for your frozen. I don't think at that point you won't even need to bring other frozen dolls. So yeah. Not really, I don't really have to expound more on Defh though. She's really great. I feel like people are kind of missing out if they say like, oh, we need more damage buff. Just get Defh. Just get Defh. Make her stand on the edge of the map. You don't even have to use her. You don't even have to use her, what do you call it? I forgot her name though. Hero's Code and Marzana's Sanction. You just need to make her stand on the edge. Don't let her be attacked by the enemy. Infinite damage buff for all of your dolls. People might think, oh, it's just a 10% damage buff. But it's a permanent 10% damage buff. That's what like people are missing out. And you get a temporary damage buff from Arctic Benediction whenever you use her ultimate skill. Book of Prophecy. So, I don't know. If people are gonna complain at some point like, this game has not enough dolls to support us that you could ever have. And I'm like, not really. I guess people are just not, they're just not really open for having dolls that... It's not like in this game, you can live in this game if you just keep pulling for all of the DPS dolls. Because at the same time, you would also ask yourself, do you really need 4 DPS dolls at the same time or carry dolls in the same squad? Like most of the time, you can only bring like 4 dolls or 5 dolls at most. Most of the time, you would actually want to bring other support dolls just to guarantee your map clears. But even then, having 4 DPS, I feel like it's way too overkill. Or sometimes it's actually wasteful. Okay, where are your buffs? Where are your healers? Who's gonna take the hit for the enemy? Right? You'll never know. Right now, the game is just easy. I guess I can only say that because I've been playing the game for way too long. But for the new players aside, I've been getting comments like, oh, I tried this expansion drill at level 43. With the expansion drill in the question that they're doing, it's like they're having an enemies that are level 60. So the gameplay of mine, the gameplay of the other players are also not the same. Are not the same. Same thing goes for you, chat. Like the way I play the game might be easier than compared to you. Or maybe the way you play the game is also easier because of you having certain dolls than I don't have, right? So, you get to see a lot of the strategies from different players alike. Some players would bring a lot of high damage dealing dolls, and a lot of players would just bring one carry doll, and then the rest are support. You see a lot of strategies in the game. So it's not really much of a race now unless there's a challenge that you have to do. Oh, you have to clear the map with level 40 units or level 40 dolls. By the way, I saw someone doing that. It's actually amazing when they have cleared that expansion drill while having only level 40 dolls. But yeah, back on the topic though, I feel like a lot of the commanders in this game, they need to bring support characters. Support characters are very, very important. You should not really downplay the support dolls and just think of, oh, it's just another support doll again, and why they're not putting another DPS dolls in the game. It's like, you do that though, your account will get killed in like a matter of seconds. Like, oh, there will come a point, the game will just start throwing you all of these hard, shitty bosses that you're just gonna have not a good time or fun time with. Remember Mopro Nexus? People did not pull for UE. What happened? What happened? Right? People are having a hard time. Me included. Me included. Right? Or not having a physical dolls or correlated to the team. That's like a taste of what happens. So, oh, you don't bring the right dolls. Right? I feel like the most ideal thing that you could ever do in Girls Frontline 2 is if you get everyone. But the thing is, if only the game did not replicate the system of Genshin or even Styrel to the point like, oh, you need duplicates, right? Instead of, oh, you want the duplicates. No, it literally became, you need the duplicates if you really want to live long in this game. That's why a lot of people are getting burnout in this game, because they don't get the ideal segment or rank that they can ever have for either the dolls weapons or even the dolls themselves. So yeah. Also, though, some of the reasons that I have where I just don't literally spout too much for some of the dolls is that you need the fortification, right? That's why sometimes you even see me put Tololo on B. I really do agree that if you really want to make Tololo really easier to use, you need that segment 6. Not a want, you need the segment 6. I actually do agree with that, with Silence Point. So yeah. Anyway, so that's back to the Chevrolet. Honestly, go get support dolls. They're good. They're great. I feel like you're depriving yourself a fun time in Girls Frontline 2, and you're giving yourself a burnout if you just keep pulling all of those DPS dolls. Get yourself some support. Get yourself some support. Or basically, go get help. Literally. So yeah. Another thing. We have Litara over here. Litara, easy S tier 2. Why? Why is that? She defense break and she has AoE. What's there to talk about? For a standard doll, she packs way too much. She has so many. She has two main things that she can do for you: either sweep the enemies or break their defenses. That's the only explanation that you could ever have for Litara to be an S rank. No more other words. I know she has her new expansion key. Her new expansion key makes her even greater than her normally. Even at her base kit, no fortification or whatsoever. At segment 0, she has access to vulnerable debuffs and also defense down. What more could you ask for? And she has an end of turn attack which can literally reduce the stability index of the enemy. She has 3 things that she can give you right off the bat. For if you are a new player, invest on Litara. Whether you are not building an AoE team or you are building an AoE team, get Litara. That's it. Alright, we have Lotta over here. Lotta, on the other hand, at the beginning of the game, she's also great. However, with how they give out Lotta to a lot of the players though, she's basically an elite doll that is limited. An elite doll in disguise. Because now, okay, how do we get her duplicate? How do we get the duplicate of her weapon? Right now, we still don't have it. Like, how many months has been? Like more than 6 months? At least now, at this point? They need to find a way to make Lotta be very, very accessible for players to really enjoy her, you know? Including myself. Because right now, I'm stuck on segment, I think segment 1? Let me just check real quick. I'm stuck on segment 2. The thing I also want is also the segment 3. Same situation with Kluke. you need the segment 3 if you really want her to make it work for like 100% of the time, or make it, you know, be a proper gameplay. Because right now, it's so hard to play as Lotta if her ultimate skill can only be targeted on an enemy. Sometimes if you cannot reach a certain enemy outside of her range, having that segment 3 where you can actually target the Tao instead of the enemy outside of her range makes it easier to use her amplified carriage or her ultimate skill for an AoE attack, right? But if you don't have her segment 3, you cannot attack the enemy that is outside of her effective range. So yeah, not to mention she's so limited. How the hell are you supposed to get the other fortification? Segment 3, 4, 5, 6? How the hell do you get that? There's no way. You don't see her on standard banner. You don't see her on event reward. There are no dedicated events for her. I know in, might be a spoiler, I know in CN they are already selling her in the shop. So the next question that I have now, when do we get it? Because that's also what holds me back on giving a high opinion about her. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on Lotta. Mosin on the other hand, I know I made a video about Mosin yesterday or earlier this morning. I will still give her an A though, despite of my opinion about her. The thing about her though, she can paralyze enemies, great. Only electric type though, great. Right now she's being held back by the game because there are no electric dolls. There are no specific electric dolls that can buff her, right? So you have to rely on other damage buffers like Centaurace, Groza, Dushebene, and defense breakers. And you also need to get the Samosek. You need to get that Samosek if you really want Mosin to deal a lot of damage. Because even I have a complete Mosin again, and even with that, she cannot catch up to Macchiato. That's just how strong Macchiato is, and that's just how Mosin is not stronger than Macchiato. Maybe the expansion key will make me change her mind. And also, her support attacks are great because they are electric. However, the fact that she is limited to using her support attacks only on the enemy that has a broken stability index also holds her back. Because what if you're just fighting smaller adds? She's kinda hard to use because she relies way too much on her Confectance Index. Because if you don't have Confectance Index on Mosinagan, you will not use her skills. Her Positive Mindset, her Target Victory, her Declaration of Victory, all of those are useless if you don't have Confectance Index. Because the only way for Mosin to get her Confectance Index is if she uses her support attacks. And if she cannot support attack, she's basically disabled throughout the rest of her turn if she does not have any Confectance Index. But other than that, if you can make her generate a lot of her Confectance Index, she is basically very, very useful. But yeah, just because she is great doesn't mean she does not have weaknesses. Same goes for the other dolls as well. So yeah. Next one, Cheetah. Before, I really love Cheetah. And she's the meme lady, right? She's the meme girl because everybody just says A all the time. A. Everybody says that. But on the gameplay perspective or prospect, I will give her a C. Why is that? I don't know what the game really wants her to be. Whether to be a healer, or a support attacker, or a very, very good buffer. Because she is a gambler. She's a gambler when it comes to buffs. So, it's funny though because the best way, if you really want to make the most out of Cheetah though, if you want the best gameplay out of Cheetah though, you need to keep re-rolling her ultimate skill. If you don't get the best buffs that you can ever have on her when she casts her ultimate skill, you're not gonna like Cheetah. That's just the thing. Because you're already playing a 50-50 game where you get that doll, you can lose a 50-50, either you get the featured doll or you don't get the featured doll. Right? You cry, right? It's the same thing goes with her ultimate skill. You don't get the buff that you really want for her, basically useless for you. Of course, a lot of the people will not admit that or might not be too open-minded to think that way. Of course, people will say like, oh, there's the rewind, but you have to understand, rewind is not infinite. Alright? But are you gonna be really the type of person who uses all of those 3 rewinds just to reroll your buffs? In that point, you might as well just restart the map. And restarting the map is a time-consuming thing. Right? But of course, people will say, oh, I have of SSD. Come on, guys. Like, do you really have all the time in the world? But yeah, other than that though, the heal is kinda, I don't really like the way she heals though. Before, I used to like it when I was first starting out the game. But maybe just because it worked before. It worked. But nowadays, if I bring Cheetah now, I feel like I will have a hard time. Because her healing, I think, let me just double check real quick. If I do recall also, her healing is she targets the one on her range. Okay, there you go. Lowest HP within 7 tiles. But sometimes though, on a paper, that's great though, because you really want to heal your lowest HP, right? But what if you don't want to? Sometimes there are just situations like that. Like, you don't want to heal the lowest HP doll on the map whenever you're doing a boss fight or something, right? Like, for example, what if you put your lowest HP doll on like literally like far side of the field? Like, literally cannot be attacked the enemy. So there would be like no reason for Cheetah or for you to heal that doll, because you can just heal that doll later. So my issue here though is that you cannot control who Cheetah can heal. That's the thing. Not unless you put the fixed key on the surprise box and Fireworks Festival. Fireworks Festival, putting a fixed key for that so that Cheetah can be allowed to heal is great, because you can control it, right? What's that fixed key again though that can actually allow her to heal with that skill? Oh, this one, Spicy Candy. Yep, this one. If you have that Spicy Candy fixed key, she can heal. What I don't like though is that if you use the fixed key that replaces your Fireworks Festival to be just a healing, you know? Like, if you think about it, having that fixed key for Cheetah though, it's like basically removing the damage effect of Centaurus' skill tree. Where is that? This one that I'm talking about, Genius Support Plan. The active skill Fireworks Festival no longer deals damage to enemy targets, and then it instead heals. If you think about it, why not just allow her to also heal while using this skill, Fireworks Festival, right? Basically, it replicates Centaurus' skill tree, which is Zukiro's special trait, without just the overburn, right? Without just the overburn. But yeah, I don't know. Her fixed keys, the problem with her fixed keys though is that it's not like Sabrina, where Sabrina just adds a thing, right? It just adds a things to make use of. But this one though, it literally overall replace. I'm gonna replace my Fireworks Festival to be a healer. So I guess in that regard too, you could also say she's quite flexible. But for me personally, I find it hard to actually make use of Cheetah. At least now on the latest patch. Maybe the expansion key will make me change my mind about her. But for now, I'm just gonna put her in her C. Also, sorry Cheetah. But yeah, I have to be honest though. I have to be honest. Nagan, on the other hand, I really find her hard to use also. I know she's like one of the defense breakers in the game, but for me personally, I find her hard to use. Because you have to follow a certain skill rotation if you really want to make the most out of Nagan. Because how she works though is that you need to use this. You need to use Friend of Justice before you are able to use the Sanction Declaration. So you are always programmed to keep using Friend of Justice first, or even Senior's Admonishment. So yeah, you're always forced to keep using these first two skills first before you are even allowed to use Sanction Declaration. So yeah, another thing that bothers me about Nagan though is that they put her as a corrosion corrosion support doll. But why only her ultimate skill that is a corrosion one? I wish to make her value increase more, I wish all of her active skills are corrosion type. I feel like that should have been the case. But for some reason, they decided not to do that. So yeah, another thing that also bothers me about Nagant is that her debuffs, they only stay for one turn. Right? They only stay for one turn. Acid Corrosion stays for one turn. And then you got Acid Corrosion 2 from the Senior's Admonishment also stay for one turn. So, it's kinda hard to keep her debuffs stay all the time when you have other dolls that can literally have their debuffs stay for like 2 turns. Like for example, wait, no, not you. Where is Groza? I think she also has it too. There are like dolls that can actually... Where is it? No, not that one. Where's Litara? Oh. Litara is the best one though. When you have Litara like this, defense down for 2 turns. She can stack a debuff on the enemy, a defense debuff for 2 turns. And also vulnerable 1. Even though it's just vulnerable 1, that's like a 10% damage increase for the enemies. It stays for 2 turns. Why they could not have made the same thing for Naganto? Is it because of the 30% defense, reduced defense? And then you also have the vulnerable 1. Well, you heard vulnerable 1 is like 2 turns. But I don't know. Every time I try to use Nagant, it feels like it's just so hard for me to use her. Or maybe I just need to practice too. But yeah, for now, that's my opinion about Nagant. Like, the game never really gives me an incentive or even a reason to try out Nagant. When I have dolls like Litara, and then Nemesis, where's Nemesis? Nemesis, and then Groza, that can also reduce the defense of the enemies, you know. So yeah, that's like my opinion about Naganto. I feel like I've been harsh. I guess yeah, I feel like I've been harsh on Cheetah and Nagant, but at the same time, I have to be honest too. So yeah, that's my opinion about Nagant. All right, next. Nemesis on the other hand. Nemesis, I put her on D. The problem with Nemesis though, I feel like she also got outshined by the new Elite Dolls too. However, during the start of the game, she's great as a good sniper rifle, right? As a good sniper doll. However, I feel like the other issue for her also is, let me just boot up the game as well. The other issue also for Nemesis as well is that the way her element goes. Like, I also wish all of her, at least 2 of her skills are corrosion. It's like the same situation with Tololo. Because Tololo, at start, right? Where's Tololo? Where is AK Alpha? Tololo has like 2 Hydro skills, right? Which warrants for you to, okay, which means I can make a Hydro boost. And then, on her fortification, it literally allows you now to make a full Hydro boost set for her, right? I wish that was also the case for Nemesis. But no, only her ultimate skill is corrosion. So, that's also what holds her back a little. Because, okay, what are you gonna make a build for her though? Are you gonna make a Pace Strike for her? A Pace Strike set for her? Or are you gonna make a corrosion boost set for her? You have to decide on what you want, or what you want your Nemesis to be. Is she gonna be like one of your hard damage dealing dolls? Or is she gonna be your like pseudo support or fake support? Because she can be your fake support because of her defense down. She has access to defense down too. She can also get another one from her fixed key, which is this one. This one. As long as she attacks an enemy who has a mark of Prophecy of Mourning, she can apply a defense down too. So, that's why most of the time, whenever I use Nemesis, she's more like a support to me instead of being a Sentinel. So yeah, in my opinion, she's like a support in disguise instead of being an actual Sentinel. For a standard doll, standard Sentinel doll, she's great. For standard, right? However, if we have gotten a lot of other Sentinel dolls now that are better, right? I know it's kind of harsh to say about that, like having dolls that are better, right? But at some point in the game, the more the game exists, the more and more dolls will be released, and then old dolls will get outshine and get obsolete. They will get older, and then they will be left behind by the ties. So, in my opinion, they need to buff her. They need to do something about Nemesis though. They need to I guess her expansion key allows her to what? She can break defenses anyway. I guess allow her to do an extra action whenever she does a certain thing. Like for example, if she has attacked an enemy 3 times that are marked with prophecy of warning, that could work too. Allow her to do an extra action. Also, hello 60 TP, how you doing? Hope you're well. Also, sorry Donaria. I've seen, but yeah, I was in the middle of the Nemesis opinion. But yeah, Cheetah are permanent support on my second team on Gunsmoke, but anywhere else not that great. Yeah, understandable. Yeah, I feel like she fell off as the patch goes, you know. Trust to release Clue Cake last number 1 there. That's just how it is. But yeah. So yeah, that's my reasoning about Nemesis. Papa Sha on the other hand. Papa Sha. She's a free doll, right? That's great. However, even I can easily say a C. Now, why is that, right? Despite her having a city warden, and not to mention, she don't get me wrong, she damages way too good. Way too good. How was your pulls? I'm not pulling yet. I'm not sure yet if I want to pull for Springfield or Perry, because my account is sufficient right now. So if I'm gonna be doing a pulling, it will be most likely just for fun. But right now, I don't know. I'm not really sure. I have the collapse pieces. I just don't know if I want to pull. So yeah, I don't want to pull if I'm not sure. So yeah, back to Papa Sha though. Papa Sha has high damage dealing skills. However, her skill rotation is also quite restricted in a sense of like Nagant, right? Like, you never change your gameplay whenever you play as Papa Sha. You always start like what? Honor Guard, and then use her ultimate skill. What's the name of her ultimate skill? Sorry, I kind of forgot. It has been a while since I last used Papa Sha. Where is Papa Sha? Heart of Protection, right? And then, the third skill is Joint Breakthrough. Every single time, no matter what the hell happened, you always do the same rotation over and over again. You go Honor Guard, and then you go Heart of Protection, and then you go Joint Breakthrough. Skill rotation done. Back to Honor Guard. That's how you play as Papa Sha. You'll never ever change the way you play as Papa Sha. And that's what limits me to really, that's what really limits me of giving her a high rating. Like, she's so, like, her gameplay is literally fixed, right? The damage part, I have no problem. If you have no Macchiato, no Kluke, no Diane, no Tololo, right? If you don't have those dolls, you can make do with Papa Sha. However, the way you're gonna play your DPS, it will be the same over and over and over again. So yeah. On Gunsmoke Frontline, she's the best. I have no problems with her having on the Gunsmoke Frontline. Papa Sha is best for that. Because she basically also gives the enemy boss an extra target to deal with. However, her gameplay is so fixed, I just don't like it. I feel like they should give her an expansion key where they allow you to literally change the way you play as Papa Sha. In that regard, I think that will make it more fun for me to actually have a reason to play as Papa Sha. Papa Sha perma-slot in Gunsmoke team. Yeah, that's true. Not to mention, she just deals a lot of damage. Like, that's a guaranteed high damage from her. That one thing you can rely on her. But God, the gameplay though, I just don't like it. I don't hate it that much. I just don't like it that much. It's not to the point where I loathe her, you know. I love her, but her gameplay though, I don't know. Like, it's fixed to the same thing. Honor Guard, Heart of Protection, Joint Break 2, Honor Guard, Heart of Protection, Joint Break 2, Honor Guard, Heart of Protection, Joint Break 3. Same thing over and over and over again. If you don't do that, you're gonna screw up your Papasha and the City Warden. So, yeah. Now, Papasha, sorry, not Papasha, Peritya. Honestly, she should have an own tier, same like Macchiato. But of course, I don't want to do that, because if I do that, that would be weird. Only one doll for me, only one doll for me, which is Macchiato. However, if I'm gonna be a bit of a objective for Peritya and a little bit of a biased opinion about Peritya though, but then again, this tier making list is already a biased opinion of mine anyway. Peritya is S tier for me. It's funny to say, it might be funny, because why Peritya gets an S but not Kluke? Right? Here's the thing. Peritya existed first. I find her more funny to have in the game just because she can do a support attack 6 times. Just because she can do a support attack 6 times. What other if you have a segment 6, she can do a 10 support attacks. Tell me another doll that can do that. Give me another doll that can do that. Give me another doll that can do that. I will bring her to A. However, right now, she's the only doll that can do that. For me, I said this before, when Kluke got released, I see Kluke as a support for Peritya. Not the other way around. I did not say, oh, Peritya is a support for Kluke. No. I literally said, like multiple times, back during Kluke's patch, Kluke is the support for Peritya. That's how I see it though. And not to mention, Peritya is most accessible. You can get her both in Mystery Coin and you can get her in the standard banner. Accessibility wise, I prefer that. That's why you don't see me put a lot of limited dolls in the S tier. Because I still prefer accessibility. Because, you know, I cannot really appreciate a doll on their best if you don't allow me to give a chance to get them. To get them or get their duplicates. Right? That's why you see a lot of standard dolls have a higher rate. Right? Like Mosin, for example, I put her on A. She's a standard. Right? Peritya is also a standard. That's the thing. So, yeah. QJ, on the other hand, I cannot really form an opinion about her. I borrowed her from a lot of friends, but I feel like I don't have enough information to really say things about her. So, yeah, she's quite cute. That's for sure. Not to mention, she also checks you out. And when I say check you out, if you take a look at her recruitment, sorry, not recruitment. If you take a look on how she judges you, this is what I'm talking about. She just looks at you from feet to head. So yeah, but other than that, I cannot really form an opinion about her. I feel like I really need to play as her. So yeah, I cannot really say anything about her. So yeah, sorry guys, sorry for QJ fans. Sorry. Sabrina on the other hand, well, it's a pizza eater. What can you say? S. Not to mention, her new expansion key makes her way too good in the game right now. The fact that she can deal a hydro damage now on her counterattack, and she gets a damage reduction every time she gets attacked. What more can you ask for her? It's Sabrina. Easily one of the best dolls in the game. Hell, you can even make a full Hydro Boost set for her. And she can deal a lot of damage. Not to mention, she scales on defense. Not all the dolls scales on defense. Only 2 dolls can do that. Sabrina and Suomi. So, yeah. That's how I feel about Sabrina. And not to mention, she winks at you. So, yeah. That's how Sabrina is. Easy as. I don't have to explain more than that. So, yeah. Sharkry, on the other hand, I cannot form an opinion. Look, I don't hate or dislike Sharkry. However, I have barely used this doll throughout my entire time in Girls Frontline 2. The only time I've ever been able to use her is during simulation exercise. And even then, I still don't understand or can even form an opinion or can even make a guide on how to play as her. I'm just not at that point yet to even tell things about Sharky. So, yeah. There you go. That's my thing about Sharky. So, yeah. We have 5 more dolls. 5 more dolls to talk about. Okay. Suomi, on the other hand. If you have a segment 0 Suomi, B. Right? If you have a segment 1 Suomi, A. Me, I don't have Suomi because I did not pull for Suomi. I pulled for Macchiato. However, I will not deprive you guys of what Suomi gave me during the beginning of the game. I will give you a B. I will give you a B. Why is that? During the start of the game, this is like one of the only dolls that can literally help you out clear all of the content in the Sojourners of the Glass Island. You did not get Suomi during like the first parts or first days of your Girls Frontline 2. You will not do shit in Girls Frontline 2. You will not do shit. You will not be able to clear the Hazard Patrol. Yeah, specifically just the Hazard Patrol. Because if you don't get Suomi, guaranteed you're not gonna get Lotta. So yeah, basically Suomi is like your pathway to get Lotta. So yeah, that's how I feel about Suomi. She's great. However, I do think you really need that segment 1 for Suomi. It's not a want, it's a need. That's the thing, it's a requirement. I wish that was not the case. However, her segment 1 is so good though. It's so good because it allows her to heal maximum HP percentage of your other dolls without having to stay near or even just being like on the edge of the map. She's like Centaurace, but on a freeze element. So yeah. Honestly, I would still recommend Suomi, but there are so many patches now in the game. Even I would just say, guys, you want a good support, go get Springfield instead. Springfield is better than Suomi because of so many things Springfield can do. She can counter attacks, she can sustain, she can heal stability index, and she can cleanse debuffs. Suomi cannot do all of that. However, if we're just talking about temporary shields, Suomi is the best for that. Like, oh, if you don't need healing, fine. Then I guess we stick with barriers. Suomi is the best for that. And not to mention, I feel like she will most likely be a situational support for you because the only way for Springfield and Centaurace and Ksenia and Yuhi to be countered is if the game will not allow you to heal. Like if the enemy will constantly apply dumps or congestion debuffs against your entire doll squad, that's where Suomi comes into play. Like, oh, you don't need a healer, you need a shield maker. So yeah, right now she's just not in the patch or the place where she can really be, be useful right now. So yeah, that's how I feel about Suomi. Even then, I still think she's good. She's just being outshined right now. So yeah, anyway, hope you guys like about the Suomi opinion. Alright, Ulrid. I have played Ulrid before. So, B. I played Ulrid before. I feel like having a melee character in the game, sorry, not B. Sorry, A. It's A. It's A for that. Why? The reason why I put her on A because she's basically an improved Caroline. The thing about Ulrid though, she's a very unique doll because she uses a blade. She uses a blade. And if you compare that to the other doll, she's a Giga Jet in her own regard. She's just not uses a blade, she also uses a bow, right? And for a blade main doll, the fact that she can do a range attack on her normal attack is too good. Right? That's like her big difference with Karolic though. Big difference with Karolic. Despite Ulrid using a blade, the fact that she has access to range attacks is amazing. That's amazing. So, she does not really literally destroy your range gameplay style on Girls Frontline 2. Right? So yeah. And not to mention, she's like an introduction to an entirely new gameplay in Girls Frontline 2. You know what I wish for for Girls Frontline 2 to have? Give us a new blade doll. They need to do it. They need to do it. I feel like they're just having a hard time doing that right now. Because, look, I have no offense to all of the returning dolls from Girls Frontline 1. But me personally, I prefer new dolls. Give me a new doll, give them a blade weapon. Because that's what makes the game fun for me. All of these returning dolls are great. Don't get me wrong. They're great, but for me, honestly, I do see them as a recycled content. Like they're just literally bringing back the characters from Girls Frontline 1 and then to Girls Frontline 2. Which is like the same thing. It's like my same how do you call it? It's like the same concept of the current video game companies, right? Like Capcom, Konami. They're really not really supposed to be, you know. I'm not really supposed to talk to them about here, but it's like an analogy, right? It's a comparison. It's like Capcom and then Konami remaking these games. That's how I feel. That's how it feels like for me. Whenever they bring back dolls from Girls Frontline 1 to Girls Frontline 2, and then they just slap on a name. Like, oh, Springfield, right? Springfield. Oh, MP5. But now she has a name on Girls Frontline 2 as Perry. You see? So that's how it feels like for me. In my opinion, they need to bring new dolls like Ulrid and Karolic, because that's how it's gonna be so fun. And you know, unique playstyle, you know, like that new blade weapon. We need to have more of those, because shotgun, rifle, I guess I can only say this because I guess I say this because I have played Girls Frontline 1, so there's a little bit of a I don't know if the term should be bias or an experience or something that I can get from or get the idea we're at. So yeah, I guess I have the traction from Girls Frontline 1, but I do wish, you know, the game would just release new dolls aside from Macchiato, Centorisi, Groza, Duchevre, all of these things, right? All of these other dolls. So yeah. But yeah, other than that though, Ulrid is great. Ulrid is great. I have seen one guy who have been focusing on Ulrid, and my god, I just forgot the name of the player though. But my god, the way he built Ulrid, it's so good. It's so good. But yeah. But if you're not really a blade enthusiast though, I feel like nobody will appreciate Ulrid. But if you really appreciate the blade style and the unique gameplay that she has, you're gonna have a lot of fun with Ulrid. Not to mention, she's a mommy too. So yeah, there's that. Well, not a mommy, maybe a big sister. But yeah. Anyway, 3 more dolls. I need to finish this because the Springfield story, we have to do it. So, Vector. Sorry. Oh, Lunaria. Suomi, not S tier. Mods ban the streamer. I'm sorry. I would put, honestly, Lunaria, I would put Suomi on S tier. But the problem is the patch. The patch just gets more and more on. She gets outshined for me. And not to mention, because it's me who have also their opinion, I really just prefer Centorisi and Duchevre. So I'm really sorry about that. If I cannot put a higher opinion or a better opinion or a high regard for Suomi. But I don't dislike her. I actually do like her a lot. It's just that I just have my own preferences. So yeah, I understand why a lot of players love her. She's great. I wholeheartedly agree with that. But it's just that my preferences, I guess you guys can also say, well, Defh, your taste is shit. Well, I'll take it. But yeah, it's just that I have different tastes, different strokes, you know, different strokes. If somebody says Suomi is better than Centaurace, I will agree. I will not even contest it, because there's a merit to that. There could be there's a merit for that too. Too expensive also, yeah. That is true, yeah. And not to mention the fact that that's like one of the things that holds me back though. The fact that you need segment 1. You just really need a segment 1. However, if you get that segment 1, you're fine. You're great. Complete automatically. Don't need to pull anymore for any duplicates. But yeah, not unless you really love her, go for segment 6, go ahead. But honestly, you really need that segment 1. It's a requirement. It's not a want, it's a requirement. You really need to get that. If you don't get that, I feel like you will really feel that something is missing with Suomi. You will really feel that. So yeah. Anyway, Vector on the other hand, I don't dislike also Vector. I don't dislike Vector also. Vector also. Vector also. However, I feel like she has way too much requirement. So I'm gonna put her on C. Don't get me wrong. It's not that I hate her, right? It's just that the way you have to make her work, you gotta bring other burn type dolls. You have to do it. She's literally the definition of, okay, my skills, my base kit, my skill set, if I want to utilize it to 100%, you gotta bring dolls like QJ, Karlik, Ksenia, and Centaurace, and even Cheetah in that regard. But even then, the problem is, right now on the current state of the game, you know who's the only bird type dolls that can actually do a perfect burn type damage? Sharkry and QJ. Sharkry and QJ. Right? And I don't think people will make use of Centaurace or even, I guess, Ksenia, or even Ksenia with Vector, because these two, they don't have a lot of burn type damage options. The only characters that you can really rely when it comes to other burn type damage is these two, QJ and Sharkry. And what are really the chances of a lot of people choosing QJ on their standard banner? Well, I guess I guess I might be in a limbo for saying that. Maybe actually there's a lot of players maybe, you know, pulling for QJ, but you know, I don't know. I'm not really sure. Because, you know, people can choose like what? You can choose like Sabrina, Peritia, or even Tollo on that regard. What I do think though, in my conception though, I feel like a lot of people just choose Tollo on their standard procurement banner. Or it's not even the Tollo. Maybe the weapons themselves. Right? However, back to Vector, the major issue that I see with Vector though is that you really need to bring other burn type dolls. She's literally the definition of you need to have a mono element team. You just really need to, if you really want to make her work at 100%, if you really want to utilize her buffs and boosts, that's how you're gonna do it. It's not the same case for freeze element, like for example, oh, I want to boost my Macchiato. You don't need to bring an entire freeze. You don't need to bring an entire squad that is comprised of freeze dolls. Like, you just need to bring Dushebe. That's it. You don't need to bring anyone else. You don't need to bring Suomi. You don't need to bring Lota. Lota. You don't really need to. That's my opinion, by the way. Like, if you just really want to boost your Macchiato, just bring Dushebene. Dushebene is enough to buff your Macchiato. That's not the same case with Vector, though. You really want to buff Vector, though? It's not just her you need to buff. You also need to buff other burn type dolls. But if you don't bring other burn type dolls, then what's the point of buffing the burn? You know? So yeah, I don't dislike her. However, the requirement that you need to have with Vector though is so demanding. Maybe I might just also be a limbo, or maybe an ass, or maybe stupid to say that. But you know, I'll take it. But you know, maybe I just need to have her to understand her more. So yeah, that's my opinion about Vector though. I don't really dislike her. I don't hate her. It's just that the way the game requires you to have many dolls just to make Vector work is crazy to me. It's like, really, I have to get those, you know? Like, I don't like it when the game demands, how do you call it? It's like Wuthering Wave, sorry, Wua, right? Let's like Wua, let's just say Wua. Okay, Cartitia, get... I was about to say Siakona, but I wanted to say Piña Colada. You need to have Piña Colada, right? You want to boost Cartitia's damage, get Piña Colada. If not Piña Colada, go get Aero Rover. It's like, that's like how the same thing I feel about Vector. Oh, you want to buff Vector, get the other burn type dolls. But it's like, really? That's how I feel. I don't like when the game restricts me or pushes me or forces me to use too much dolls, too many dolls just to boost this one doll. Guys, get what I mean? Of course, you know, maybe a counter argument would say, but Defh, you use a Macchiato and then you use a Centaurace and a Duchevene or even and then a Yuhi at the same time. All three supports. But my reasoning for that though is that if you take a look at the way I built my squad, it's not all free, it's not all burn type or breeze dolls. Right? Like take a look at this. Macchiato is a freeze. Macchiato is a freeze. Duchevene is a freeze. Centaurace is a burn. It's not really a burn in my opinion because what? Only this skill. This skill. And then I bring Yuhi. I want diverse options on the way I play the game. That's why I don't really like the way they force me to have a, you know, a bit of a requirement for Vector. So yeah, that's my 2 cents for that. I don't dislike her. I don't really dislike her. In my opinion, she's actually one of the best burn type dolls in the game. The requirements though, I don't wanna deal with that. I don't wanna deal with that. So yeah. Anyway, Bepli, on the other hand, Bepli. I also like Bepli. However, I will still put her a B. She's on a B for me. Because my reasoning for that though, despite me having a good opinion about Bepli, something about her makes it, I feel, the gameplay feels clunky whenever I deploy Bepli. There's just something about her that kind of feels off whenever I try to play as her. She's great, but sometimes, you know, sometimes you just want to change Bepli. You know, like there are other options, especially whenever I play the simulation exercise. Whenever they give Bepli, or even the challenge mode, whenever they give Bepli, I was like, should I change Bepli to someone else? Because honestly, she's not bad. She's not a bad tactical doll, but something about her feels really clunky to play as. You know. However, she has two AoE skills. One of them is really clunky to play as though. And what I'm talking about though is this one. This one. All out performance. She has good mobility, right? Bepli has good mobility. I think she can move like what, 8 tiles? Yeah, she has an 8 tile movements. But even then, something about her just feels really off whenever I play as Bepli. So yeah, I cannot really explain it that much. But yeah. However, when it comes to damaging enemies, I don't think I think she's very reliable. Look at this exclusive stage. A single target and 150% attack scaling. That's way too high. And not to mention, she has a guaranteed crit. That's also what makes her really good. Like, you don't even need to make a full... You don't even have to give her a perfect or like what? At least an 80% critical rate from just the attachments alone, or 60%, sorry, 60%. Right? You don't really need to, because if you just need to use Bepli just for exclusive stage, you could do that. Right? She also has an AoE skill that can also allow her to give her a buff. Right? A 30% damage buff. And she has access to damage buffs. And she also has access to stun. So, yeah. But yeah, she's a very flexible doll if you think about it. But yeah, even after all of that, me explaining the things about her though, there's just something about her that I not really feeling 100% for. So yeah, there are still times whenever the game gives me Bepli during simulation exercise or challenge mode or other events that has preset dolls on it. Sometimes I just want to change Bepli to someone else. You know, sometimes. It's not that I dislike her. It's just that maybe her gameplay is just not for me. There you go. Maybe those are the words that I'm looking for. Maybe she's just not for me. Or I just need to understand her more and play as her more for me to really appreciate her or even form a constructive opinion about her play. So, yeah. Alright. Sorry guys, I know this has been long. you know how Tiermaker works. Also, sorry, Lunaria. Without her segment 1, it's like driving a car but only have 2 wheels. True. Oh, so me. Yeah. That's true. Zowie. Zowie, on the other hand, Zowie. I am leaning to either C or B. And again, this is not because this is another one of the thing where I don't really dislike her, but I also do not like her that much. She's a Vanguard character, right? She's a Vanguard though, but her entire gimmick though is like she has a skill which allows her to displace herself on a very far side of the map, right? That's good if you are trying to close an object or try to interact with an object. However, if you're not really, if the current map that you're doing don't have that, it's kind of pointless to. No way. Oh, not the ads. Hold on. Not the ads. Okay, there you go. Jeez. Sorry about that. So yeah. Oh, let me refresh. Man, why do they push the ads now? No, I want to use my ad blocks. Look at the ads, dude. They have 123 ads. No way I'm not gonna use my ad block. So yeah. Yeah. If there are objects that you can interact with, Zowie is best used for that. She has an additional healing that she can give to her entire Dal squad, but I feel like it's kind of unnecessary to have those when you have Dals like Centaurace or Ksenia and even Springfield in that regard. So yeah. However, she can tank because she's a Vanguard, but her damage department is not that high too, if you think about it. However, she has an AoE Hydro damage, so there's that. However, she also has a stun, if I remember correctly. But even with all of that though, I feel like her gameplay is not really for me. And not to mention, she is on an element that I'm not really focusing on, which is Hydro. Because right now, I'm not really focusing on Hydro. And not to mention, I just switched Tololo to Faye immediately earlier. So, there's that also. And not to mention, I'm not really also a fan of just focusing on one element at a time. You know, like having mono-elemental teams. That's why sometimes even in Gunsmoke Frontline, even if the meta is like, oh, you need to use Burn or Hydro, I don't really give a shit about that. Because I prefer having fun on my game instead of sticking with the meta, you know? But yeah, I think she's great. She's really great also in her own regard. It's just that her gameplay is not for me. I don't really need the displacement. Maybe on some challenge modes, if they're ever gonna allow her to be used on the preset dolls again as a preset doll, some challenge mode or some events, great, really great. But for me, I'm sorry, Zowie is not really for me. So yeah, that's my 2 cents. So yeah, well, I hope you guys have enjoyed my stupid tier making list. But yeah, at the end of the day, this is just my opinion. Just an opinion. I know. Oh god. Imagine if I actually upload this on YouTube. A lot of the people will trigger, Defh, you're stupid! You're stupid! I know. Don't worry. I admit that I'm stupid. Actually, not stupid. Stupid is not the word. It's boosted. I'm a boosted commander. What can I say, guys? What can I say? I'm boosted. So yeah. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed my opinion. So right now, this is gonna be like my overall opinion about the current dolls that we have right now on Girls Frontline 2. Also, I did this before Springfield comes out. So if you guys don't see Springfield and Perry on this one, that's the reason. So yeah, anyway, I think it's about time we do the Springfield story event. Well, later Tiermaker, and also I need to have a bathroom break. Well, I'll be right back.